People really don't know what their expenses will be because they don't know how long that they're going to live.
Americans are worried they won't have enough saved for retirement now more than ever.
Retirement is going to cost, for many folks, over $1 million.
Is no sure thing in investing, but a lot of people think that annuities may come close to that.
It's going to more safe things that they know. If they know they're going to need that money to supplement their retirement, well, then you can't play that risk.
This is the Safe Money and Retirement Show with Jon Heischman Sr., founder and partner of Heischman Financial Services, serving the Columbus and surrounding areas. Jon specializes in educating pre-retirees and retirees about safe money strategies and ideas. Now, it's the Safe Money and Retirement Show. Here's Jon Heischman Sr.
Welcome and thanks for joining me for this week's edition of Safe Money and Retirement. I'll be your host, as I am each week. My name's Jon Heischman from Heischman Financial Services here in Reynoldsburg, Ohio. I'm glad you're with me today, and hopefully I can give you something to think about. You know, we get so much information every day that is simply useless, or I should say, it doesn't apply to your individual situation. And many times it just clutters your brain. Today, we're living in an era which we're trying to pack so many details about so many subjects, most of which don't apply or, again, apply to your individual situation. And I think that's one of the reasons people get so much wrong. We just have so many facts and figures and dates and times floating around in our heads that when we try and put it out in a conversation, we just sometimes get it backwards. Matter of fact, what I've done today is concentrating on the questions that I have heard over and over again over the past years. The most often asked questions, and they're good questions. I have been compiling them over the years, and I thought I would run through some of these because they're important, and I'd be willing to bet the majority of my listeners have the same questions on their mind. Before I go any further, I want to let you know that you can give me a call at your convenience. 614-861-7055. That's 614-861-7055. I'd be more than happy to run the numbers for you like I do for most of the people that want me to do that call in from my show. There's no charge, no obligation. Be happy to do it. Once again, that number is 614-861-7055. Give me a call. Let's have that conversation about your concerns as far as retirement goes. Most of my listeners tend to be conscious of what it takes to make money, what it takes to save money, and the basic meaning of it. They've come to me for technical advice and for some general advice. Let me give you the question that most people ask me. The first one right off the bat is, will I have enough money in retirement? I've probably had 4 listeners over the last several weeks call me about having enough money in retirement. Now, that's a question only you can actually answer. You know your budget. You know your debt. You know your lifestyle. And all of that plays a big part of planning your retirement so you will have enough money in retirement. For somebody that has, let's say, $250,000 saved for retirement, one person might look at that and say, that will never be able to make it through retirement. However, many have retired on that amount and comfortably. Why is that? And very simply, it's their lifestyle. They don't really spend a lot of money. They don't need to spend a lot, and typically they haven't prior to retirement. Will I have enough money in retirement? Always a great question to ask when you're in your late 50s and you're looking over that accumulation period when you are really going to start honing in on retirement. The key there is to take a look at what it takes to run your household. What does your lifestyle look like? What is it you would like to do in retirement? Then we put a dollar figure on that. Almost everything has a dollar figure. The size of your home, your car. Do you want an RV to travel? I say that because I have a client that decided to sell his house and he bought a $350,000 RV. And that's where they live, he and his wife, in the RV. They have traveled all over the United States. That's their lifestyle. They love it. For somebody else, they wouldn't even think about that because that's not their lifestyle. That has to be taken into consideration in the retirement plan. It's so much more than money, because once we determine your expenses, your lifestyle, what it's going to take to live in retirement, we can determine if you're going to have enough money during retirement. So you can always get out that pencil and paper as to what it looks like in your mind. How would retirement be? Put a dollar figure on it. Then figure out where that dollar is going to come from. Will it be your 401k, your pension, Social Security? Because a retirement plan of any kind, whether it's state or federal government, it needs to be taken into consideration. Then let's look at debt. Do you have a mortgage? Possibly school debts from your kids, grandkids. Are you committed to expenses that nobody else knows about, but they're internal family expenses? And that's what I want my clients to get perspective on. You can't guess, you can't estimate, but many people do. There has to be a plan, because we're going to get to a point that we need to determine when are you going to take distributions from your retirement money. Well, the rule of thumb is, quite frankly, the longer you wait, the better situation you're going to be in. Most retirement plans are geared on age. So, the older you are, the better the distribution and the safer it is, generally speaking. But for a lot of people, it's not practical. They need to take it right away. If they do, then the options are going to narrow pretty quickly, because so many people retire too early. And the earlier you retire, the question of, will I have enough money to last me through retirement, becomes more important. I get the question of, when should I retire? When should I start taking my distributions? And again, it's always best to hold off as long as you can. Now, I've got clients that retired in their early to mid-50s, which I personally consider is an early retirement. But I can guarantee that they will have enough income coming in for the next 40 plus years if needed. If not, I'm going to let them know. Another big situation that we have to address when you take those distributions from your retirement plan, are they going to be taxable? Why is that important? Well, it could spill over into having a taxable impact on your Social Security benefits. These are things you have to look at. These are things that I address when discussing retirement planning. We do tax planning. Now, I am not a CPA or a tax attorney, but I get this question often. How can I minimize my income taxes in retirement? Well, without going into tax advice, which I cannot do, but I can give ideas. And going back to what I said earlier, wait as long as possible to retire. And when I refer to retire, I'm assuming, as always, there's going to be income coming in because you've stopped working, that paycheck has stopped, and your income has to come from somewhere. That's going to come from your retirement accounts, pension, and or Social Security. So we have to make sure you're ready from a money standpoint, from an income standpoint. And I don't want to project your life expectancy as far as determining, making sure you have guaranteed income coming in to that age. Why? Because today people are outliving their life expectancy based on mortality tables. I'm going to take a short break at this time, but stay with me. I'll be right back.
Thanks for listening to the Safe Money and Retirement Show with Jon Heischman. For more information, call 1-888-426-0177. That's 1-888-426-0177. Or visit their website at HeischmanFS.com. More of the Safe Money and Retirement Show in a moment.
Sequence risk, or sequence of returns risk, is the risk when market losses occur early in retirement in multiple years. Most people have never heard of this term because few people talk about it outside financial planning circles. Yet, preparing for sequence risk can make or break your nest egg in retirement depending on how much money is at risk. Heischman Financial Services wants you to be aware and educated about this retirement risk and show you the options available to prevent sequence of risk that could affect your future retirement income. Call me at 888-426-0177, 888-426-0177.
Welcome back to the Safe Money and Retirement Show with Jon Heischman. To contact Jon, the number to call is 1-888-426-0177. That's 1-888-426-0177. Once again, here's Jon Heischman.
Welcome back to the Safe Money and Retirement Show. I'm Jon Heischman. All right, let's take another question that I get all the time, and that is, where should I take my retirement income from first? Meaning qualified or non-qualified money? Social Security. Where should I start? I think that depends on a lot of factors. And it's something that I have to review with my clients, look at very closely to determine what would be best. If you could take from non-qualified money at a certain point, depending on how large that has grown, the only part of what you're going to be taking that's taxable is the gain. Now, when I say non-qualified money, I'm referring to non-IRA, 401k, 403b, 457 pension. These are all qualified sources of money. I'm referring to those that are not, which is in the category of non-qualified money. Once the earnings, the interest has been paid out, and you get to the principal where you started with originally, that amount of money becomes non-taxed. It basically was taxed somewhere way back when along the way, so it becomes a tax-free source of income. Very important because it plays a vital role in a client's retirement planning because they have significant amount of non-qualified money. If they have a significant amount, the problem is most people, all or the majority of their money is what we call qualified. They had IRA accounts, probably had a 401k and a pension. Again, this is qualified money, and most of their retirement assets are tied up in qualified money. These IRAs and 401ks, qualified money, is all taxable. So it's really interesting because prior to retirement, many needed the tax deduction by making contributions to qualified money. But upon retirement, they wish their money was in non-qualified accounts. But it is what it is, and that's why taking money out of accounts is so important. Which do you take out first? And how long do you continue with that source of income? Many don't have a choice, but there are those that do. And we might throw in a Roth IRA, which is one of the biggest tax-advantaged retirement income planning tools. And once again, in retirement, most look back and say, I wish I had more money in a Roth IRA. So tax planning is critical. There are variables that will help determine what money you take first. I can help you determine which accounts that you should be taking money from, which to delay, and how to structure that income so it's guaranteed as a monthly income coming to you for the rest of your life. 614-861-7055 is my number. I'd love to hear from you and answer your questions. 614-861-7055. Another big question that almost always comes up, and if it doesn't, I'm going to bring it up because it's critical, and that is how to maximize Social Security income. Here again, can you wait? Most people trip the wire on Social Security the minute they hit age 62. Now, when they do that, they're going to take the minimum amount that they're qualified to take. Why is that? Because it continues to grow, and the government says, if you'll just leave this alone, I'll grow it for you at 8% a year, all the way to age 70. That's how they encourage people to delay taking Social Security. And you might think, well, why would they do that? The big reason I can think of, it helps to preserve the Social Security fund, the more money that stays in there for a longer period of time. But it benefits the retiree. And again, assuming you can wait to age 70, because the income is going to be more. If you're going to continue to work, delaying Social Security as long as you can, which would be age 70, your income from working will be taxed. Part of that tax is FICA that's going to go to Social Security, which is going to increase your income from Social Security because Social Security looks back on the last 35 years of your working life. So the two important ways to maximize Social Security would be, right off the bat, try and hold off taking it. Every year that you wait, it goes up 8%. The other is to continue to work, if you can. That in itself, not only will it be growing at that 8%, but you'll be contributing to Social Security, which increases that amount as well. Another big concern that is brought to my attention, a question that's asked, and again, it's one of those situations that if it isn't asked, I'm going to bring it up because it's important in the planning process. That is, how can I protect against the different risk in retirement planning from the standpoint it's going to take away from the money that's going to be used to provide me with a lifetime income, such as long-term care cost, inflation, too much money at risk, taxes, healthcare cost, to name a few. I have to look at what type of protection has been done in the past. What's the number one exposure based on their situation, and present ideas to protect their assets. Assets are going to be used for retirement income. Very simple. The biggest one, as I mentioned, is long-term care. Whether or not my clients can afford or can do something in the area of long-term care, many can and many just can't. But I have to address that risk with them and make them aware of a potential problem. So there's a lot that goes into retirement planning and a retirement plan. It may sound very detailed, and maybe that's why a lot of people put their planning off because they don't want to go through the process. But I make it as simple as possible, educate and explain. Make recommendations in addressing a problem or a potential problem later on in retirement. That's what retirement planning is all about. Solve problems and develop relationships. That's what I do. Give me a call at your convenience. Let's talk about your concerns. Answer your questions. Let me run the numbers. Let's see what it would look like in your situation. If there were a couple of adjustments that can be made before it's too late. And again, no obligation whatsoever and definitely no cost. Visit my website, HeischmanFS.com, HeischmanFS.com. 614-861-7055 is the number, or 888-426-0177, 888-426-0177. And if you have to leave a message, please do so, and I will return your call just as quick as I can. 614-861-7055. I want to thank you for joining me, tuning in to the Safe Money and Retirement Show. This is Jon Heischman, and be sure to tune in next week at the same time, the same station.
The Safe Money and Retirement Show with Jon Heischman Sr. To get in touch with Jon, call 1-888-426-0177. That's 1-888-426-0177. For more information about Heischman Financial Services, visit their website, HeischmanFS.com. That's HeischmanFS.com. Join us again next time for the Safe Money and Retirement Show with Jon Heischman Sr.